So number one, here's one of the fact-finding questions you need to ask. How long do they plan on keeping the vehicle? Why is this important to ask? Well, the best way to sell somebody is through direct transparency and honesty. You don't need to put them in the most expensive coating, because if they're not going to keep the vehicle more than a couple years, you want to recommend a coating that makes sense financially for the vehicle. Now, what does that do? That gives you credibility, and credibility gives you elevation. So remember, how long to keep the vehicle is a starting point to negotiate to closing this type of job or packaging it up with other services. Number two, are you looking for a perfect type of finish? What I mean is, if we put it under focused lighting, flashlights, LED light, are you looking for every imperfection, as many as possible can be removed? Or are you just looking for a shiny, glossy finish that you put out in direct sunlight, and from 10 or 15 feet away, it looks great? This is a benchmark that I recommend by using percentages. So if we use 100% as perfection, which doesn't exist, I always tell people 95 is perfection and 70 to 80 is less than perfection, but in most lighting situations, it looks amazing. So what are you doing? You're setting up an expectation. You're interviewing the customer based on the facts, and the more detailed you are, the better you are to give firm expectations, get more cars and referrals. Now, number three, how soon do you want this done? Now, the reason I ask this question is, two, is I got gaps in my schedule I need to fill. So let's say this customer comes in and he has a number in his head and he's got a budget, and I want to try to meet that budget, but in order for me to come close to that budget, I'm giving you an example, I'll ask him, do you mind if I meet your number and get closer? Could you keep the car here for 4 to 5 days so that I can execute this level of budget that you have? If you want us to turn around in a 24 to 48 hour period, that means I got to put all hands on deck, and that can be really expensive, and I know you're trying to save money. And the customer will usually reply, from my experience, you can keep the car as long as you want. You know why? Because everybody's looking for the deal.
So this would be like a two-step in these areas, because that has to come out. And there's a long one right here.
Yeah.
Which is normal. They say they can't get this out.
Well, I don't know. I've never talked to anybody about it. But what I was just telling my husband said, well, you can't really see it now, but like I drove through something that was splattered like concrete up on the car.
Oh.
And stuff.
Let me see. That'll come off. We'll get that off.
And yes?
Yeah, it's got some scratches. And this is typical on these. These always get scratched. These.
Yeah.
Look, there's a nice one right here. But all that gets fixed when we're here. Okay. So how long are you gonna?
Mom car.
Mom?
This one also,
Where's the kids?
You see the wheels? Did you notice
Yeah.
the brake dust on the wheels?
So I would definitely, here's the thing. I wouldn't ceramic coat the calipers, but we do paint calipers. Like I just had a brand new customer with a Lexus that had these anodized calipers, and they wanted them painted. So I painted them whatever color you want. If you have a fingernail polish you like, as long as you give me a piece of it, like I can paint it. So, or I could take the color code of this and paint them the same as the body. I've done that on a bunch of Porsche SUVs.
This was the calipers that
We paint it, and then I put the logo on it.
Yeah, I like that. I wouldn't mind the same color.
So put down brake calipers, paint match body color. And then what we do is we leave this plate, we'll take this plate off to do it, but we'll leave the Mercedes on here, or I could paint that red and just do black lettering, and that'll be a choice.
Yeah, I'd do that.
So take it up, paint it black,
Yeah.
and then I would do like the same color as this on the caliper. I did it on, remember when Porsche used to make that walnut brown metallic?
Yeah.
Well, they made a stick version of a Cayenne S Turbo, which was rare. Customer bought it, he races it per ump, and I color matched the calipers. And then I took the Porsche stencil and did it in a certain color, and it looks so good.
Oh, that's cool.
It's that little detail that would make that wheel all of a sudden pop out, because the caliper behind it. Okay, I got it. And then what I do from here, so guys, what I do here is two-step correction. I always put a percentage of perfection so that you have a benchmark to customer, because every paint's gonna have flaws that you can't control. That's why I always put 80 to 90% removal.
Keep it on a two-step.
Removal of paint imperfections. Go ahead, write that.
Got it.
Okay. And then, so I break it down. So there's a two-step. There's a two-step paint correction. There's a 9/8 ceramic, and you notice how I wrote large SUV. And then brake caliper painting coating, so we're gonna match it to the body color. And then window tint, we're gonna do front windshield. So see, there's option 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I also wheels off.
Oh, you ran out of room. So
Yep.
PPF on this one. So $26.95. Look how large the bill is getting on all three of these. So what I do is I said, listen. If they said, what's the price going to be? I said, well, here's the prices if you were to do it individually. If you start adding multiple services, I can start discounting the job 15%. If you add 4 or 5 items, I can go 20%, which on this kind of job is going to save a significant amount of money. Okay, so we did that one first.
I was gonna say, that was my one question, was with doing his wife's car first, he's out there putting miles on that, you don't quote him for a one-step, and say it comes in with damage that you don't want to cover.
Then you have to
How
walk.
would
You have to walk the car before they drop it off. You say, listen, this is the way it sits right now with the weight you bring in the car. This could change. Something could happen. So just understand that I'm still going to walk the car after, as long as it was what you brought it into me. Then the price is going to be the same. If something's different, I'm going to call it out. That's why it's always important. Because see, what we do is you have them sign. Hold on. You're going to sign on the options when you're done, and then you're going to sign that they agree on the options. And what have you just done? You've covered your ass liability-wise. Oh, I didn't say this or you didn't say that. No, you initialed it. And then up here, you have a picture of cars so you can note any damage on here, and you want to start checking these. So when we're done, we have the customer sign off on this pre-inspection and agreement to what options they want, so we're clear about going forward. And then when we're done, we have them do a QuickBooks invoice, right? So they sign after and before, and the credit card. So now you got 3, and then you got pictures and video. So what are you doing? You're protecting yourself and also making sure the customer's clear, and that prevents any future problems. Okay. This car was destroyed. It literally looked like he had steel wool to it, and he brought it to me, and I said, this is a great class car. Because then you show the worst case scenario with the customer, so they could, and then you show the student, how do I diagnose this? What is my pattern product combination going to be? And how do I price something like this? And that's why I like having that in a class environment. This guy is going through free, because he saw the cars we had in here last week. He came into his Helicat, he's like, I want mine to look like all these cars. I said, well, you got to fix the paint, and we got to get it right before we can coat it, because then the coating is just going to amplify, and it's just going to look shitty. All right, let's go inside and figure something out.